Naturally, the story dominating today's headlines is that the Prime Minister has been put into intensive care. Speaking to the Today programme, Michael Gove said that he had received oxygen support but was not on a ventilator, and he was unaware as of yet as to whether the Prime Minister had pneumonia. Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab, who in his capacity not as Foreign Secretary but as First Minister of State, will now be chairing cabinet meetings in the Prime Minister's absence. Laura Kuenssberg described it as a first among equals approach, but cabinet collective responsibility still remains, and it will be Mr Raab who is ultimately responsible for the decisions being chaired. While Parliament itself is setting up to deal with the coronavirus crisis for when it is set to come back on the 21st of April. In a press release yesterday, Parliament said that it would be setting up what's called a virtual Parliament, with the intention that MPs can still scrutinise the government through normal procedures such as urgent questions, tabled oral questions, questions to departmental ministers and the like. But instead of being held in the chamber, it will be held through various means such as webcasting and video streaming. Despite Parliament technically being on recess, some committees are still active, however. The Home Affairs Committee have recently announced a call for evidence for a new inquiry looking into cases of domestic violence while the coronavirus lockdown remains in place. And in one final piece of news, the Welsh Government have announced a £24 million funding package for the third sector in Wales. The funding package is set up for three reasons. The first is to support the sector and charities just to get through the crisis, to ensure cash flow remains stable so that they can keep up with overheads such as rent and the like. The second is to increase the number of volunteers that could be available to the sector in order to fight the coronavirus crisis. And the third reason is to just generally support the third sector's infrastructure.